Hey, everybody. NXT just went off the air. We're going to go on the air. We're going to give you our thoughts about tonight's NXT. And we're going to talk a little bit about the draft. So we'll be seeing you guys on the other side right after this amazing, quick, very fast intro. That is not the right one. I don't know what is going on. What is happening here? What a glitch. Come on, guys. Work with me here. All right, everybody. Sorry about that. That was a technical difficulty. Welcome to Unpopular View, the NXT review show. I am the Grand Poobah, a.k.a. Bad Guy Jack, and I'm joined with the amazing Wrestling Doll. Wrestling Doll is week 2. The Bad Dolls have been on world tour. We've been kicking a lot of ass. Why don't you tell the lovely people, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Been working, had a little bit of a wrestling weekend, so sporting summer. So it is.
All right. Why don't you tell the lovely people a little bit about your wrestling week?
Well, I was out in Seminole by Tampa for Pride of Wrestling, which is a company over there. And it was a pretty fun show. Chris Silvio Esquire made his wrestling return in there, so they actually covered that on the news. So people that were there actually got to be on camera for that, including myself.
Oh, nice. That sounds so dope. That sounds cool as hell, actually. It's really, really, really cool. All right.
The match, I put it up online, and you can watch it and see the cameraman filming as it's happening.
Is this on your official YouTube page?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's lovely, because if you guys look at the links, there are links to many things, and it's to the Wrestling Dolls page. So please, if you have not subscribed to it, what are you doing? You need to subscribe to it. But we are here. We're going to talk a little about NXT.
Huh? 784 subscribers and going strong.
There we go. Let's get that all up. We got George. We see you in the chat, George. He said NXT was pretty solid. We got Todd. He says, giddy up. The first match was pretty good. What's up, everyone? Jeffrey, what is going on, my friend? What's going on, George? George, he inboxed me. He wrote me. He didn't yell at me. And we got Walter. Warman is here. Jack Pack Empire. Yes, let's get that hashtag going. Jack Pack Empire. I think next year I'm going to just call it Jack Pack like Galaxy. I don't know. I'm trying to expand it more. But George hit me up a few hours ago, and he was like, "Oh, what was the thoughts about the draft?" So why don't we talk a little bit about the draft? This is not a mouse. I don't know why it's there. This is the mouse. But why don't we? Because I have some pictures actually about this, and I'm interested in hearing what you guys think about the draft. And Wrestling Doll, please add in. I know this picture is not super big, but this is the people who were drafted to Raw. I know it's hard to see names, but I hope that you guys know who these names are. Who did you guys think had the better pick? I saw a lot of people sitting here saying, here's the free agents. Brock Lesnar's a free agent. And it cracks me up because Brock is never – the last time he was on SmackDown had to have been 2019. That was like the last time. I think he had like 2-3 appearances, and then he just dipped. So seeing him as a free agent cracks me up. Omos, I know –
he's never there anyways.
No, he's barely there. And Omos, it's funny because MVP, his thing with Omos is he says he want Omos to get more eyes on him. So that's why he's a free agent. I'm like, homeboy is like 7'8". I think there's a lot of eyes on him already. But I get what he's saying. But I was surprised that Von Wagner was a free agent.
I thought you would have been happy as hell seeing that Von Wagner got called up. He can be on SmackDown or Raw. So nobody has to pick.
I was surprised by it because I just felt like he's someone you don't have to call up right away. He don't have to be on the main roster. I think he still needs some time on the NXT brand, and we'll talk about him a little bit later in the night.
Well, that's why he's a free agent. That way he can train and have free time to do stuff.
And he has more time to what'd you say? I'm sorry, say it one more time.
That he'll have more free time to do stuff like working on his skills and everything, because he's fine in the ring. It's just his promo skills need a little bit more. His
promos need work. I think his in ring. I mean, he's fine. He's a big guy. He's not. I don't expect him to do, like 450 or Spanish Fly, because we saw a bunch of that tonight. And then we have SmackDown. I'm sorry, say that again.
He doesn't need to do that.
Well, you know it is in today's wrestling. You have a lot of big guys, and they can do all these moves. They're doing these like moonsault or all these things. That's why I say that Spanish Fly. And this is SmackDown. And once again, I apologize. I thought this thing would be bigger, and you can see the names. And they had some really good picks. I was happy that Pretty Deadly was called up. I expected him to be called up, especially after last week.
2 weeks. We called that a few weeks ago.
A lot of because they're a great tag team. I mean, they've done everything they could in NXT. I think, and also too, not even just that, they've also was doing a lot of the house shows, and that's usually kind of a call because Zoe Stark, who's called who's on Raw, she was doing a lot of house shows on for the main roster, and even Charlotte gave her some props and said like, "Oh, good job" and stuff like that. So it was almost like it was called. I was just surprised at Isla Dawn and
Alba Fyre.
I didn't expect that to be. I didn't expect them to be called up. That I didn't see. Did you? Really? You had visions of them? I expected Katina Chance and Kayden.
I expected them too because they had been in NXT for way too long. But Alba Fyre, formerly known as Kaylee Ray, and Isla Dawn had their big experience with NXT UK, and then to be brought into the States. I mean, they've shown already that they're both very strong individuals in the ring, and they're even stronger together as the unholy union, as they like to say.
And they're a really great tag team. I know we're going to talk about them in the main event, and I want to get into the chat real quick. We see you, George. Let me click this right here. He says, I'm happy for Indy Hartwell, Zoe Starks, JD McDonough, Kayden Carter and Katina Chance, Alba Fyre, Isla Dawn, and Apollo Crews. You also forgot Grayson Waller. I'm sorry, I didn't even mention him, but him being called up is a really good call as well. Him being on SmackDown, I thought this was a really smart move, is not having him on the same show as The Miz because they're so similar in characters. So I thought that was a really smart move.
Wait. If The Miz and Waller are similar, then what does that make Waller and Theory?
I don't see them as similar. Like, what? I mean, they're both young. I don't see it, but what do you see?
Waller is pretty much Theory and The Miz put together, having his own little TV show like The Miz, with obsessed with being viral and popular on social media like Theory was.
Jeffrey said SmackDown won the draft. SmackDown got the better picks in his opinion. We got Todd. Oh, I'm sorry. Todd said that. Jeffrey. Jeffrey agrees with. I'm sorry. George agrees with Jeffrey. Sorry, there's a lot of G's here. I'm sorry. You guys are the G men. That should be a tag team. The G men. He said I forgot about Pretty Deadly. How can you forget about Pretty Deadly? They got killed last week. They got killed. How do you forget them? I'm just happy that they're still alive.
This was a couple weeks ago, George. How'd you forget?
Yeah, it was just last week they got killed. Pretty Deadly with Seth was a missed opportunity, LOL. But I'm glad they didn't do that. Seth don't need that. Seth don't really, I don't think, I see why you say that because it's similar with the style and everything, but I'm really glad they didn't do that. I don't think Seth needs to be going back to trio team things. Like if the only time if they was to do that is a Shield reunion. That's the only time. But if you used to have like a segment, with Pretty Deadly and Seth, I would be for that, sure. But also too, Seth is a baby. Pretty Deadly, I've never seen him as a baby face, so I don't know. But they just seem like they work so much better as a heel. So I don't think it's a missed opportunity, personally. But I do see what you mean, Jeffrey. I was surprised that Alba Fyre Isla got drafted. Same here. I did not expect that. I expected Katina Chance and Kayden Carter. And when I saw that, but it was cool. I think there was a reason for it, but I'll save it for later. And we also got George who says, can you image seeing the Grayson Waller effect on SmackDown, interviewing superstars on SmackDown? Yeah, because we're going to see that not this week, next week, because the draft goes into full effect next week. So I look at a lot of these elements that they add, and I'm excited, and it makes me wonder how all these chess pieces are going to be put together, because someone like JD McDonough on Raw, and I can see how a lot of people might be rolling their eyes, but I said I'm interested in seeing what they do with him. I'm really, really interested.
I'm pretty interested in seeing JD on Raw too, on the count of that his coach, mentor, trainer also happens to be there.
Absolutely.
So who knows? Maybe he'll be one of the next recruits for the Judgment Day if he doesn't get rid of the whole loner character thing that he has going on.
So let me ask you guys this, and this is going to not only you, Wrestling Dog, but also in the chat. Would you want another member of the Judgment Day? Personally, for me, and I've seen interviews, and I believe they interviewed Finn Balor, and he talked about recruiting another member. I think they're just fine the way they are. You have Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, and almost a Dom Toretto, but
Dominic Mysterio.
Yes, and he gets so much heat. Like, I just think that they are just perfect the way they are. I think that they don't need, and I know this is an NXT show, so forgive me for going over here, guys. But since we're talking about the draft a little bit, I just don't think they need another member. JD McDonough, I mean, could it work? Sure, because it's history there. But is it really needed is the question. That's my question to you guys. We got Me Too review. Grayson Waller, my dad loves him. What's going on, young man? How are you? Thank you for tuning in. He's great. And we got Jeffrey says, nah, they're good. They don't need any. I agree. I don't think they need anybody else. I think they're just fine. They keep trying to recruit another, but they always get turned down. And we got George who said, I can see the bloodline versus that LWO. You know, and I'll end it with this and then we review NXT. Because we went 11 minutes in. And thank you guys for watching. The LWO, sure. But at some point, they got to go for the OC because I want to see Roman against AJ. They had some really good stuff in 2016. If you guys never seen it, some really, really, really good stuff. I want them to get to that point. Roman against AJ because Roman's reign is going to end at SummerSlam. I see that being the thing. But let's talk NXT. And we want to say thank you guys real quick because we went 10 minutes talking about this stuff. So I hope you guys were entertained by our little draft talk. Give us a like, love, and subscribe. Do all that lovely stuff and continue to follow Unpopular Review. Brag about us to your friends, your dog, so your dog could pass it to other dogs. That sounded bad, didn't it? Let's open up with NXT. I have notes, but I'm old school. I write. It opens up with Wes Lee against Drew Gulak. I like the open right here because it opens with the North American Championship on the ground, and then you just see Wes Lee picks it up. And I forgot that he was coming out with Tyler Bate. So I was like, oh, right, Tyler Bate, right? So he comes up with Tyler Bate because Drew Gulak comes out with Charlie Dempsey. And it starts off hot because, Wes Lee don't waste any time. He didn't forget about being attacked earlier in a few weeks back. So he's already starting off with fists and feet. He's just kicking all kinds of because there's a young man in the chat. I'm going to curse, but all kinds of butt. Vic mentioned because Vic don't really say a lot of smart things. Vic makes me mad. I had to take at least 4 Tylenols because he gave me a headache. So I don't know how long I'm going to be able to do this show because I don't think 4 Tylenols are good. But he mentioned Wes Lee had 8 title defenses, which is amazing. And Wes Lee and Drew Gulak are going back and forth. I did like this spot. There was a spot where Drew Gulak went for a pin, and I like the awareness that Drew Gulak had as he was covering Wes Lee. Wes Lee's arm was underneath the ropes, and the way he just took it underneath, I thought that was really good detailing just to show his ring awareness. So I thought that was great. Drew Gulak, well, it was mentioned how he said Wes Lee weakness hasn't been exposed, so he's trying to out-wrestle Wes Lee, but Wes Lee's just too quick. He's too he just have so much movement. I put this down because Booker T said a lot of wild stuff, and I know Jeffrey was keeping up with some of this stuff, but Booker T says Wes Lee, he swims, but he don't get wet. I said, Book, what are you talking about? I didn't understand what any of that meant. I didn't understand what in the Dr. Seuss, but I said, whatever. There's a spot where Charlie tries to interfere, but Tyler stops him, and Wes Lee takes advantage of a distracted Gulak with the I always mess up his it's the kick. I always mess it up. Sorry, guys. Thank you. I always have to be corrected. And he beats Drew Gulak, so he defeats him, he vanquishes him, and after the match, you see Tyler Bate keeps looking at that North American Championship, and that looked like that's going to be the next match. I see that being at Battleground, and I would be looking forward to that. So what is your thoughts about this match? And we'll get into the chats after.
Well, everybody knows how much I like Wes Lee because I make it very known, and I don't care who tells me otherwise, but I've been a fan since day one. I remember my very first Wes Lee match was him with his former partner, against Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher for the NXT Tag Team Championships back when it was still the Black and Gold brand. And I fell in love with them when they were their tag team, and he was always my favorite of the two anyway, so I've always known that he was destined for greatness, and tonight really proved it even more, especially to those who thought that Wes Lee couldn't do shit on his own. You might not be cursing, but I just said one, and I'll put a quarter in the swear jar, but...
Put it in the swear jar. I think the young man went to sleep. Young man, I hope you went to sleep, and I want to say thank you, because I don't like cursing in front of the kids. Because I'm a man who...
I forgot that there was a child watching, unfortunately.
You know what it is? I'm a role model. I was told this by someone who was drinking at the bar. I said thank you, because he had like 6 beers. I don't know if that was coming from a sober place or if he was telling the truth.
Well, they always say the truth comes out when you're drunk.
I know.
But,
well, not me. I'm sorry. But
Wes Lee and
yes.
Drew Gulak did have a good match. Drew definitely went for more of the hard-hitting stuff. Wes Lee did his more aerial, in-the-air stuff as always, which is what the people love him for.
Yes.
Everybody was on the edge of their seats watching. The people love Wes Lee. A lot of people at first were wondering, what are they going to do with Wes Lee? They made him a fighting champion, and I'm so happy.
What do you feel about him going against Tyler Bate? Would you be looking forward to the?
That is going to be a banger of a match.
I agree.
It's going to be bangers and mash, as they say in the UK.
I would sit here and say, and I know we talked a little bit about the draft earlier. I was kind of expecting him to be called up because he had a tryout match. Well, it wasn't a tryout. He was on main event against Dolph Ziggler, and I heard great praise. And also too,
I want to work on him a little bit more before calling him up to the main roster.
And that's fine. Because you don't need to call everybody up. That's true.
For a while,
and
not getting championships or anything, and got called up. For example, Odyssey Jones.
I do have to sit here and say, nothing against Odyssey Jones. That was random. I when I saw Odyssey Jones,
was surprised too, but I'm happy for him.
Yeah, no, good for him. I would ask everybody, because I feel like he's been on NXT for a while, but he hasn't made a whole lot of appearances because he was hurt. And he just came back, I want to say this year.
He did. A few months ago. I was at that taping when he came back.
Let's get into some of this, the chats. We got Jeffrey. I hope I'm not clicking this over again. He said, "No, they're good. They don't need anybody else." Talking about the Judgment Day. We got they keep trying to. We did that. I'm sorry. What we got here? Yeah, that was Wes Lee versus Drew Gulak. Was pretty solid. We got who's going to face Melo for the NXT Championship. Oh, it's going to be Braun Breaker, but we'll talk about him.
The only person that they have.
I did a thing, guys. I'm sorry, I'm laughing.
What did Jack do?
I did it. Look at this. It pulled.
Why did you do that?
I hate you, Jeffrey. I want you to know that. Let me remove this. Get this out.
Remove it.
Get this. No. Move. Look at this.
You put it up.
And I blame Jeffrey because Jeffrey did this. Right, this is his fault. You know, because I was minding my business trying to have a really good show last week, and he did this. I was trying my best to be professional, and now look what you made me did, Jeffrey Drummer. I don't like being like this, but yes, he's. You
say that, and I play Taylor Swift's "Look What You Made Me Do" right now.
Yes, let's blame Taylor Swift, but yeah, no, I'm sorry, I couldn't help, but I don't like being broken. But we have Trick Williams. Let's talk about this segment because they showed the segment
in the ring discussing what happened with Carmelo and what they've been through together. That in real life they went to school together. They'd been friends for a very long time. It's always been Trick and Melo. That he moved Melo out of the way for the spear out of pure instinct because that's his boy at the end of the day. And he's going to fight for his boy's honor. He's going to try to beat down Braun Breaker to the best of his abilities. And I believe he can beat Braun Breaker, but I feel like Braun Breaker is going to for the crap out of Trick Williams.
No, it's not. This This is Pitbull. I'm sorry. I'm going to give it to Buzzer. I thought the segment was good. I thought the segment was good because it showed.
I knew Trick had the gift for Gap, so.
Right. Trick really held his own on it, but I'm not surprised that Trick. It doesn't surprise me that Trick can do all that stuff because he's capable. And I was even thinking, I forget what point, because everything just rolls together for me. I was like, yo, Trick really has it together. I mean, there's still things that he needs to put together, of course. But when you give him a mic, oh my God, he's gonna wreck you. And Braun held his own. I don't want to sit here and say like Braun looked like a fool or anything like that. You know, Braun says some things, I'm gonna hurt you, blah 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 blah. But Trick is so smooth
since making the switch.
Right. And I like Braun attacking the NXT audience because they were the ones who really made him who he is, because they kept
they did.
They made him how he is.
As someone who would go when he was still champion, and hearing the people boo him, especially sitting next to somebody,
and they were even
booing the crap out of him.
Did you hear them? Did you hear them when they were doing the Braun Breaker sucks?
The John Cena thing.
Yeah, and they were doing all that,
referencing John Cena and then. Mm-hmm. Never mind. I can't get the
you did it right. And you know what? I appreciate this because George, he's always against me, but I love that he's aware of my catchphrases. Because right here, I'll read it for you. Trick dominated. Trick dominated by Trick. No, he meant to say Trick dominated Braun Breaker or Pitbull.
Trick whooped that Trick Braun Breaker in the
crowd was behind it, and I love that for Trick. I really do, because Trick is. He's someone, and I love that the segment that him and Apollo Crews had later in the show. I love that it was like, yo, we had beef before, but we good. You have talent, you're gonna be that, and it's setting up. This is kind of setting up for eventually, and I don't have a timetable for it, but eventually him turning on Mello. It's gonna happen eventually, and it's gonna hurt because these two together.
Everybody is going to lose their minds. Everybody's gonna cry. Mm-hmm. They're gonna be like, "Why, Trick? Why?"
It's gonna hurt, but it's hard.
I wouldn't be surprised if they start chanting "You fucked up" for that one, because Mel's gonna for that one.
They will. They'll sit here. They'll be hurt. There'll be a lot of boots because the act together is just so great. I mean, since day one, I remember when they started the NXT 2.0, and I remember I was kind of not feeling it because the logo and the color and all that stuff, right? But you saw these two together, and it was magic off rip. And then you kept seeing them do more and more and more together, and you were just like, yo, these guys are great. So it's going to hurt eventually, but, you know, they're going to have a match. I'm sorry, let me just get to the point. But Trick and Braun are going to have a match next week. I did like the thing, and I don't got all of it. I know you wrote it down, Jeffrey, but he said he's going to knock the tan out of Braun and make him black and blue. And the crowd really ate that up. I mean, Trick really just, mic-wise, just wrecked Braun. Unfortunately, it's not going to be the same for him when they get in the ring, him and Trick and Braun. But that's next week. We have JD Madonna. He's talking. He's been drafted to Raw. What is going on, everybody in the chat? We see. I see you, Crazy Joe. What's going on? We got George that I can see Trick turning. Do you see Trick turning or Mella? Because Trick is coming off kind of a baby right now, but that's always the thing. He comes off as the baby, but then jealousy kicks in. So I can see that.
They're repeat of Dolin and Jane on those two.
And we're going to talk about that. We got Charmaine. Do you think the few people who got drafted, do you think they're going to be good on Raw? I would hope so. You know, that's the only thing I can sit here and say. I hope so. We're talking about JD Madonna, and I hope that he gets a chance. I think he's somebody who can really contribute right now into that mid-card division. You want to beef that up as much as possible, and I think he's someone who can help.
Oh, he's a star for sure.
Mm-hmm. And he could go for it. Right now, like, if you're asking me, is he the World Heavyweight Champion? No. Cheap plug here. The Big Pop Theory podcast. We have a TikTok, and I asked the question of who do you guys see to be the first to be the WWE Heavyweight Champion? Originally, I was saying Bobby Lashley, but he's drafted to SmackDown. But it only makes sense for it to be Seth freaking Rollins. I think it's Seth freaking Rollins. It has to be Seth freaking Rollins. So, and I say all to say is JD. He could be a great mid card. And work to that main event, of course. He can obviously work towards it, but he would beef up that mid card. But he's being interviewed. He's talking about being drafted to Raw. This is his last night on the NXT brand. Dar shows up. I don't even try to pronounce his first name because I always butcher it. And he asks JD, can he take? What's his name?
Noam.
Noam? Is it Noam or Nomar?
It's literally spelled Noam. So I'm just saying Noam. I'm just going to say
I feel like you're way closer than me. That was great. But he comes out with his heritage trophy.
His heritage cup.
Oh, it's the cup.
And that's what it says on the thing too, and that's what they keep calling it.
Well, I know. I was just testing you. I just wanted to see if you was paying attention.
Of course
I wrote cup. I was just sitting and in my notes I said, I'm going to let me see if Wrestling Doll is paying attention. So it was totally cup as I readjust my notes. But he comes out with the cup and he says, can you take out he says, long time no see. Can you take out I almost called this man Wes Lee, but Dragon Lee, there's too many Lees. If Keith Lee was here, I would have said, oh my God. But
Keith Lee's not here. He's over at the other company actually getting some decent TV time like he did on Friday.
Did he? Is he getting TV time? I don't watch enough.
He did on Friday. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. We got in the chat, George says that we got Jeffrey. I'm sorry. Let me click this real quick. He said we're gonna have a KO and JD on the same show. Remember what happened the last time, right? I saw the thing on Twitter. That's the only reason why I remember, because I saw it on Twitter.
That should be interesting.
His match with Dragon Lee was pretty solid. It was good. It was really, really good. They gave him time.
This is another one that had everybody on the edge of their damn seat.
Oh, the crowd loved it.
If it wasn't for the women's tag match, I would have been thinking, why wasn't this the main event?
The crowd really loved this match. I mean, the crowd was behind it. These guys, I didn't write every last move that they did, but I did appreciate Dragon Lee. Yeah, because they was doing so many moves, but I did appreciate Dragon Lee hitting an atomic drop. I feel like that's just an outdated wrestling move. So when I saw it, I had to write it down and say, "Oh, he did an atomic drop." Like that's just JD. He tries to unmask Dragon Lee.
Dragon Lee.
Yeah, he tried to do some.
He was just doing it to distract him so he could get an opportunity at a win.
JD is so smart, and that's why I sit here and say him being added to the Raw brand is it just really beefs up that mid card. I mean, he's someone like he gets his character, he understands his psychology, all that stuff. It's honestly a blessing for Raw. And I feel like if people don't watch, because I know not everyone watch NXT, some people are surprised. They're like, "You watch NXT?" I'm like, "Yeah, because it's a pretty decent show."
Despite it not being the black and gold brand anymore, it's still pretty good. I mean, they've brought in good talents,
and they do. And they
see some of these people live.
You've been there. Listen, you know what was my favorite? I don't think he was there for it, but you know what was my favorite NXT moment? SmackDown draft Grayson Waller, and seeing breast milk David Sanderson be shitted on when he made fun of David's shitty pants.
I wasn't there when that happened, but I did see the picture on Twitter.
I saw it on TV, and I enjoyed every moment of it. It brought a smile to my face. I said, "This Grayson Waller kid, he gets it." It wasn't until he started drinking out of the shoe that I was like, "I don't know about that one, bro." Like,
that's an Australian thing.
Okay, there we go. I had no idea because that. But that's not true. Indy Hartwell, isn't she Australian? I've never seen her drink out of the shoe.
Well, she's not crazy like he is.
Okay, there we go. Good job. Damn, like hit me in the head.
Listen, the only thing that she was crazy about was Dexter Lumis.
How is he always getting in these buildings? And no one. Okay, we'll talk about him later. But this match was really great. This match was good, and I feel like I skipped the match. I apologize.
We skipped Dolin versus Jacy.
We did skip that. I apologize completely.
Well, it was so short. I was disappointed at how short it was. I honestly.
How did you feel about this match? I mean, besides it being short.
I enjoy watching them go at it after each other and them going back and forth at her brother. I wanted them for it to go on a little bit longer. I get why it didn't go on a little bit longer, but I wish it would have went on just a teeny bit more, especially with the storyline they've been building with those two. And Jacy Jane has definitely solidified herself as a proper heel, which I don't know how many people were able to hear when she said it, but when she was after the match was over, after she already beat down Gigi, when she was beating her down by the steel steps and shouting at her brother, "Does this remind you of your mother?" and all that stuff, that literally made people realize she's evil. And we should never like her and boo the crap out of her no matter where she goes.
I missed the part where she started bleeding. And some people I see online saying she bladed herself, but it was different when I saw her bleed because you don't see women bleed often. So when I saw her bleed, I was like, whoa, where did that come from? I figured that she was going. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, from the still steps.
From the still steps. I figured that she was going to win because Gigi won that first encounter, I don't know, like 2 months ago or something like that. Yeah, and then they're gonna have like 3 matches. So I almost feel like I don't think they go to a first blood match. I mean, that would be different, but I don't see it. But I definitely see them doing something where
maybe a street fight on Battleground.
Yeah, I was gonna say that
a street fight, a steel cage street fight on Battleground.
Ooh, steel cage.
Kind of like War Games, but make it smaller.
Well, you know what they did? You know,
with
this
feud. The ladders, the chairs, the kendo sticks, the toolbox. Bring out everything.
The toolbox. Oh my God, the toolbox. What is this? Wednesday night where they start stabbing each other with screwdrivers?
Hey, Seth Rollins brought out a toolbox during his steel cage match with Cody Rhodes. So
he did. Well, you know, Seth Rollins also brought out the Harley Quinn hammer. I think it was the Hell in a Cell 2019. And then don't worry, you don't even have to see that match. That match was really not that good. It really wasn't.
If you're talking about him with Bray Wyatt, I've heard many things about that.
Yeah, no, it isn't good. Yeah, you know, she gets the win. This match, it went by so quick. Like you said, I don't really have a lot of thoughts into it. I think they're just trying to progress with this storyline. Trying to make it a blood feud.
Somebody else to go after, but with what these two have going on, this is one of the biggest things ever. And literally, and I have to say this: when Jacy came out with her theme coming out, saying her name, I'm like, oh my God, they turned her into a heel Mandy.
Yeah, and you know, I remember.
Except she thinks she's the greatest thing ever. She's literally a mini Mandy.
A mini Mandy. Why do you? I think she was actually taller than Mandy. Like,
that's not my point.
I was trying to figure a mini, like, I don't know. You made it sound like what Mandy.
That's like not what people mean when they call somebody a mini other person. Like,
oh, I know the lingo. I know the 411. You kidding me? I know this stuff. I listened to Mary J. Blige in 2001. No More Drama with the platinum wig, which have nothing to do with it. Let's talk about Axiom against Scrypt. I mean, look, this was their Batman v Superman storyline. They wanted to get this out the way. They've been talking for the longest time.
I'm saying that they're both frauds.
Yeah, they're both frauds, and I'm going to expose you.
Going to get unmasked, and they did that. There was some good high flying from both of them. Mm-hmm. Scrypt had to keep his eye out for Axiom on all the stuff he can do, which he did. He got that good moment off of the announce table. And then with everything that happened around when the match ended, Axiom was going to leave, comes back in, shakes his Scrypt's hand, but Scrypt attacks him, and so he retaliates by pulling his damn mask on.
Have a good night, young man. Don't let him see you. And also be a jackpacker. Don't be a noxer. That's terrible.
Well, he's a noxer by birth, so he can be a jackpacker by association.
Yes, do that. You know, you said a lot of great things about this match, or you saying some things about this
match. Just have one more thing to say about it.
Sure, go ahead. I wanted to just point out that young man, but go ahead.
But everybody at home was watching was like, oh my God, it's Reggie. Who's surprised? No one. When was the last time we were actually surprised? When Mustafa Ali was revealed to be the hacker during the pandemic era?
You know,
his little faction.
You know, not for nothing. And I see you, young man. You said both of us to LOL and shush. So this storyline, right? I remember a few weeks before I was sitting there saying, so they're going to unmask and we're going to act like we don't know that's Reggie. Like, we know that's Reggie. We know it because the mask is crap. It's crap. It's a crappy mask. It's nothing against Reggie or anything, but the mask is crap. And because you could see his face, we were talking before we went on air when we were talking about how with Axiom, we all know that's A-Kid, correct? Cool. But his mask is, you can't even see his face. You can't, you know.
It looks like a Power Ranger helmet.
The Power Rangers helmets were cool. Don't do that.
Yes. I'm not trying to make you mad, but it has the cutout
I
in the
appreciate
front
that.
so you can still see, but it covers everything else to where you
It
can't tell.
kind of looks Power Ranger. I see what you mean. It's just a Power Ranger is a soft spot for me. And I agree with Jeffrey. It is a stupid mask. I think it's a stupid mask. And when they took it off, and then Vic is like, "Oh, it's Reggie." Of course it is.
People in the freaking room were chanting Reggie. They knew it was him when they took it off.
You know,
everybody knew him before that.
Vic makes me very mad. And I see you, Alex, Story World. I want to click here because I see Alex is spamming. I don't know. Okay, yes. It's okay. I had no idea. Thank you for that, Jeffrey. We're gonna click to you, Alex. You don't have to spam. I see it. We see it. We're just gonna get the thoughts and then we're gonna click it. But it's annoying when they do stuff like that. Not 619. Crazy Joe. That's Big Joey Cool. That's the Diesel to my Bret Hart because I don't acknowledge Shawn Michaels. What was I going to get at? Yeah, you know, when they do stuff like that, and I know they're doing their job, but it's annoying when they're like, oh, because Booker T was kind of like, oh. And then Reggie, Vic is
surprised. Nobody was surprised.
No.
Going to be surprised it was Reggie because everybody knew beforehand that it was Reggie.
Oh, everyone knew it was Reggie.
If they're going to make it seem like it's someone else, at least do a better job at it. They did a better job with hiding the fact that like I said, that the hacker was Mustafa Ali during the Thunderdome era.
Oh, that was the hacker? I thought it was Hornswoggle.
No.
Oh. Damn. Bet a lot of money that was Hornswoggle.
No.
I probably didn't.
He had his faction with Retribution and Reckoning and Retaliation.
Wait a minute.
Slapjack.
Wait, Jeffrey's. Not Jeffrey. I'm sorry. Once again, there's so many G's. But George, Reggie's in 2K. It's been a while since I played. I got to play again. Maybe next week I'll download my entrance so you got to see how cool my entrance is. Except Vic. Yeah, Vic is Vic sucks. That's all I got for that. Real quick, we'll talk about the segment. Briggs and Jensen and Finley, they're all back on the same page. You know, I was ready to write on my Twitter. Jensen, what are you wearing? But I couldn't say that because he was in regular gear. I'm happy that they're back to
normal.
Yes, he's back together. They're back to normal. They talk about the match they had. They talk about how they became friends. I kind of forgot for a period that they became friends. And I remember last week when they were fighting, right? As they were fighting and battling, I was like, wait, this is how they became friends? Because they had like a bar fight, and then they were like, yeah, let's just be friends and drink beer. Which is how I usually meet a lot of my friends. So it's nice to see that. Jensen shows his growth by not a bunch of women like, hey, you know, you guys look cool. Let's go have a drink. And he's like, nah, I just want to hang out with my friends. So good on you, Jensen. There's growth there. I appreciate that. Jensen, one day you'll find love. But until then, have a glazed turkey sandwich. No, have a glazed turkey sandwich. That is tremendous stuff.
Well, he could do that while focusing on his self growth.
Yeah, you could do that. That's she got
also.
What we have
props to him for learning a couple things from Kiana to help Fallon out with the family bar.
Right, I missed that part. Why don't you talk about that real quick?
So they were talking, and Fallon had some papers in her hand, some letters, I'm assuming from like issues with the properties and all that. And he was talking about how he learned some stuff from Kiana. Briggs thinking that it's some rated R dirty stuff that they could talk about later. But no, they're talking about how the land is profitable, how her parents could sell something and get some money off of that and have some on the side as well to help out with the family business. So we can see that he not only learned about love, but he did learn about business, which could come in handy for his sister from another mister.
There you go. Good on Jensen. He learned some things. And I'm glad Jensen's back to normal because I didn't like the slick back hair. He just, I don't know.
Yeah, I actually was at a show in Orlando a few weeks ago for Game Changer Wrestling, which they have the match on Fight TV. So if anybody does a 7-day free trial, you can watch it. And I was sitting like in the back where you could see it being filmed on camera, so you could see me there. But while we were on commercial break, I actually did see him walking through with the slick back hair still before that match happened. So it was before that. He kept it for the storyline, and he was walking with the girl. So I'm assuming that's his woman. And she was very, very pretty.
Okay, check that out. All right, cool.
And while I was watching a match, Io Sky was actually on the side, sitting on like one of the concession stands or behind the curtains. I was like, "Oh my god, it's Io Shirai!"
Did you
say hi because she was already gone by the time everything was over? But it was awesome. And some of my friends also took pictures with Trinity, formerly known as Naomi.
Oh, dope. That's so cool. Matter of fact, cheap plug here because Mike Knox, I know he talked about her last night. I mean, yeah, yesterday. Sorry, because time. But talked about Trinity and question to you guys. How are you guys going to be? I don't know how much you guys watch Impact. I will be checking out Impact this week to see what this debut looked like because I am happy for her and happy that she is happy because that is the main thing. I've seen a lot of people talk and they say things like, "Oh man, why did you pick Impact? Why would you go there?" First off, she went where she wanted. She trusted her heart, and she went where she felt like I wanted to do something different. And I appreciate that about her. So,
and according to some articles that I'd seen, apparently New Japan wouldn't be able to afford her. AEW has too many goddamn people. So what would be the point? She'll be used for a few weeks and then put in the back burner with everybody else. And would WWE take her back after what she did back in May last year?
I do personally believe eventually
she would have. They probably would have, but we don't know. So
right,
and I think that might be a better choice because they actually do take their women's storytelling in wrestling a little bit more seriously in comparison to some of the other companies besides WWE.
Right. And I think eventually she does definitely come back to WWE because I believe they all do. I always use this as an example. Bret Hart, Ultimate Warrior, and Bruno Sammartino, these guys were on and they didn't want to have anything to do with them, but all inducted into the Hall of Fame, came back, and so I mean I do see that as a possibility. But her being on Impact, and I see you guys in the chat, we see that Jeffrey, I see you said I'm happy for her being in Impact. We got George, I think she's going to be okay in Impact, and we got the Knockouts. Got a lot of great women there, and I believe it. I don't watch them as religiously, but I see enough to know enough story. Like I know that Taylor Wilde. I remember her from years ago, and now she has like a witch gimmick or something like that.
Yeah, now she does a witch with like tarot cards.
Okay, you watch Impact. Check you out. All right.
Yeah, I've seen a few clips of it here and there, so I'm familiar with who she is as a wrestler.
There we go. Impact may be small, but big. There we go. See, good job, Jeffrey. Good job on that. We got Kayden and Katana backstage. They talk about how they've been a tag team for a long time and how they're going to win the tag titles back. It was a quick segment, but let's talk about Joe Gacy against Joe Coffey. It's the battle of the Joes. There's a spot where Joe Gacy, he's giving this speech to his team. And he's talking about how he would sacrifice his body for this team. And he says, 4 roots, 1 tree. I didn't write that down, but I remember it enough. Ava mentions to Joe Gacy, let me just make sure I'm clear, Gacy. He says, do this for them, but make sure you do something for you. So, you hear that, you go like,
potential challenger for the NXT Championship.
There we go. Ooh, potential.
If not Braun Breaker, Joe Gacy could be going after Melo next because he did go after Braun when Braun was champion.
There we go. That could be. I mean, I definitely see Braun going for the NXT Championship. But if you're saying Gacy after, okay. I mean, I don't see him winning, but we got. I'm surprised at this, George. You said Joe Gacy for NXT champion. So you're for him to take the title off Melo? No,
he's for him going after.
Oh, going after. Okay. I just wanted to be sure. Okay. But this match goes and it starts. I do want to mention this belly to belly that Coffey does to Gacy, and that looks rough. Like when he does it, he tosses him, and it's like he doesn't get enough rotation. He got enough rotation, but it wasn't. It was enough, but it still looked rough. Like my neck hurts.
My neck, my everything cringes and hurts from watching Joe Gacy in the ring now because of his new gimmick. That's
you're not big on Joe Gacy.
I'm still not big on him being in the schism gimmick. I'm not big on it. I've never been big on it. I preferred him when he was violent and aggressive and a kick-ass kind of guy, like he was during the black and gold brand, during the breakout tournament days.
You know what? And I kind of
forget. He didn't have like a full character, but I preferred that over.
It's funny with Joe Gacy, right? And it's amazing when you go back and you watch like a lot of like wrestlers, what they were before WWE, and he did stuff with Combat Zone Wrestling. I know I'm saying it on, was it CZW or something like that? And he was like a hardcore wrestler. And I was like, oh, I would have never known. But a matter of fact, when I saw him with his thing, I was like, didn't he used to wear like a suit or something to the ring? But fine. But they have this match, and it's fine. It's the implications are if Gacy wins, then
the Dia can have a tag championship match.
Yes,
with Gallus.
Yes,
which Gallus is going to win, so that way those two can.
Yeah, I see them definitely doing something where they just cut ties with the dyad. You know what I mean? Dyad. And I definitely see that, especially when Ava, what I mentioned earlier, and when she says, do something for you, do something for them, but do something for you. And it's like almost like cutting ties. And I mean, it's no secret on Twitter. They both admitted that, hey, we asked for our release. And this is looking like the end, honestly. This is looking like the end for them. They look like that. Yeah, they got this. Joe Gacy gets the win. Let me just get to that point. But Joe Gacy gets the win. Ava gets in the ring. She acts like she got attacked by Coffey. She falls on the ground, hold her mouth, and all that stuff. And you have a distracted Coffey doesn't see Gacy when he does the springboard clothesline, pins him. So Dyad is going to get a title shot next week, but they're not winning, like you said. And we have Ruka. She FaceTimes her friend
Dani Palmer, who makes her NXT debut.
How did you feel about this? And then we'll get into the chat. But how did you feel about this?
Well, as someone who was at NXT during her Level Up debut, when they had her come out in some cheetah print, random, generic wrestling gear, I was like, she's really, really talented. The people were already behind her, so I had a feeling that the debut was going to be really good too. And Tatum Paxley definitely held her own against her. So definitely this was a great debut match for Dani. And I can't wait to see what she'll do. I think she'll definitely be a good contender to possibly last in the battle that they'll have for the women's championship. I don't think she's going to win the championship belt yet.
Right.
But I think she's a very strong contender to be one of the next baby faces to go for it. She could be one of the top baby faces after Roxanne for that as well. Because the people are already so behind her. I think the people are kind of over Roxanne, so I think Dani's the next one.
I would like to see more of Dani. I saw a little bit of her, and when I was watching, I was like, oh, okay, she's not. I need to see more from her. She has a unique frog. I mean, the frog splash is a move that is. I mean, let's be real. It's everyone has a frog splash, And if you don't believe me, Montez is his finisher, but Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins. I feel like I'm missing someone. RVD still counts because he wrestles sometimes. But the frog splash is unique enough because she has when she does the move, when she does the frog splash, she gets you see how flexible she is. That's what I was trying to get at. So when I saw the finish, I was like, oh, okay, cool. But I would like to definitely see more of her and see her get more reps out there. And right now, with a lot of women being called up, like Indy Hartwell,
Zoe,
Chance,
Kayden,
I
Alba.
think I think it just gives her enough space to be to put more eyes on her. So I would like to just see more of her. I didn't think it was a terrible debut or anything like that, but I just would like to see more.
We got that for sure, especially with how much the people are behind her tonight.
There you go.
Let's just hope they don't squash that.
No, I don't think so. I think NXT have done a great job when it comes to their women. I think they really have. We had a Duke University segment. I love this because once again, Andre Chase, I don't know why he couldn't be there or whatever. He must have
been still recovering from the vicious attack that was Braun Breaker last.
We don't know that. We don't know that for sure. I mean, he might have been out drinking.
All right, now I see what's going on. You want Duke University to be a thing. See, I had a feeling this is what Duke Hudson was going to be trying to do all along, take over and be the new person in charge of Chase U and turn it into Duke University.
Unbelievable. All Duke did was take charge.
He took charge of the class. I give him props for that. However, when he said Duke University, that has a nice ring to it. I'm like,
does it not? It has a great ring to it.
There's already a college out there with that name.
I would love nothing more to go to some. Well, I don't. That sounded. Duke University has a great ring to it. Why would I go to Andre Chase University? Listen, I appreciate
a school in North Carolina.
I appreciate what Duke did. Andre was probably out drinking, having the time of his life.
You don't know that either.
I know that. I read the dirt sheets, so I'm smart. I read.
Those dirt sheets aren't always accurate. I'm also
they are. Well, when I write them, I wrote a dirt sheet one time. I said Goldberg is bald, and I got a lot of flowers. Not the ones I wanted.
It's obvious. Everybody knows that Goldberg is bald.
No, not everybody. Not the blind people.
The blind, no. The deaf, no. The ones that can't speak, no. Everybody and their mamas know that Goldberg is bald.
I don't like when you take
your mama knows that he's bald too. I'm just saying.
Who?
Your mom knows too.
My mother disappoints me. She's a fan of this guy. And I had to tell her, I said, You constantly disappoint me. And the last thing I remember was waking up off the floor with my eye throbbing. I don't know what happened. And it was terrible. Now I know Mother's Day is going to be very easy next week. What's the next segment? Because now I'm hurt. Von was pouring his heart out. Let's talk about Von Wagner. This guy, he's a free agent. He could go on any brand. He's opening it up to Robert Stone about
pictures of his father, and they were talking about the memories in the pictures and stuff. And then Robert Stone stumbles onto a picture of Von Wagner with the stitches in his head as a baby, and Von refused to talk about it. He didn't want to open up about it, which that's actually his baby pictures, and he doesn't want to talk about it. Don't poke the bear. And Robert Stone definitely does not need to be poking the bear that is Von Wagner.
No, but I mean,
because he's going to get what happened. He's going to get a repeat of what happened when Aaliyah left to go to SmackDown and get his ass whooped.
You know what I thought that you was going to say happened? Let me see if I do have it. Did you think this was going to happen to Mr. Stone?
No, because nobody was going to catch him. Nobody likes Robert Stone. The only time people like Robert Stone is when he's getting his ass beat. Catch him.
I don't even know why they caught. I don't know if you guys were watching NXT when I was reviewing it like years ago, but Icky Man would irritate me. Oh, look, I'm the guy who would.
Irritated him so bad that when Von Wagner threw him into the audience, he was so happy, jumping up and down for joy.
Who?
You. You were jumping up and down for joy in your seat when that happened. Don't lie to us.
That was the moment I became a Von Wagner fan. And then Von has let me down. I don't like being let down, Mr. Wag. But yeah, I mean, they're going to definitely go back to this segment. This is why I thought it was kind of weird. So when I had him as a free agent, I just thought it was weird that he's a free agent because I felt like, oh, we have the storyline, keep him on NXT, and they're doing this. So we'll have to see how that goes. Let's get into this other segment real quick.
Hold on. Jeffrey says I broke him. I broke you. Yeah, for like a few seconds. You broke him for like 10 minutes.
Oh, so when I saw sounding like the Joker, that's when I'm broken. Okay, there we go. All right.
Well, when you start laughing so much that you can't talk for a few minutes, yeah.
Well, I like to laugh. I'm sorry.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's get into this segment before we get to the main event. We have Dijak. He brags about beating up Dragunov. he talks about he's going to beat him up next week, so we're going to have that match next week. Let's talk about this main event real quick, guys, because I know we didn't do no commercials, but I wanted to sit here and say thank you guys for watching on Popular View. It is 11:05 here, and you guys are watching us late at night, and I want to say thank you guys because you guys are great. You guys are pumping in the chat. I see you, George. You said Goldberg was bald when he was in WCW. I knew that, but did everyone else did? We got Jeffrey, who's very rude, who says Mama knows best, Jack. No, she don't.
Not when it comes to Goldberg. Goldberg.
Do I need to? One day I'm going to make a rant. I'm going to make this 15-minute rant on why Goldberg sucks. It bothers me. You know, real quick.
Is it going to be a list of Jack with like 15 reasons why he sucks?
No, it's going to be like 82.
Okay, so it's going to be a list then.
It's going to be a list.
Maybe you should do the same number of the age that he is now, which don't know how old he is, but you can make that many.
Goldberg has got to be, you know, Goldberg constantly ruins my life. Like, I can't explain that enough to you guys. You guys think I'm joking. So when I was a kid, when I first started watching wrestling, I was a WCW kid. So he beats Hogan. Hogan used to be one of my faves, right? Boom, he beats Hogan. I'm like, who's this bald guy? And then like, oh, look, I'm watching WWE. Cool. Guess who shows up in 2003? Goldberg. Why are you here, Goldberg? Whatever. And then I remember the time of my life, 2016. He comes out of nowhere, beats Brock Lesnar. What? What are you doing, Goldberg? And then let me keep going further. And then, oh, look, The Fiend. Oh, all the young wrestlers can't beat him. Ancient Goldberg comes out of nowhere, beats what's his name, Bray Wyatt, for no reason. Why did that happen? just what is happening here?
I don't know.
And he beat the Giant too. Yeah, so thank you, Jeffrey, for that. God, now I'm sweating. Now I got to take another shower.
Well, you can come with 56 reasons why you can't stand him since that's how old he is.
And then he ruins my life even more because I have a great relationship with my mother. My mama, bad guy, and me go way back. It's like she's my mother, right? She's great. And then she tells me, hey, I saw that Goldberg match. He's great. What are you talking about, Ma? That's not true.
Thank God my mother doesn't like wrestling, so I don't ever have to have these discussions.
My mother is the greatest heel of all times. The way she has constantly has betrayed me, and I'm not going to be too loud because I fear my mother. She's 5'7" and from Harlem. I don't want to cause them. But how dare you? Because Goldberg has ruined my relationship with my mother, and I want you to know this, William. If I saw you face to face, I would step on your foot and run. Because he's in great shape. And I know he could throw me through a wall. But I don't like it, Goldberg. Let's get into this main event because I'm upset and I will trauma dump for the rest of the night. And y'all don't want to hear this. God damn it, Goldberg. Where's the main event?
Katina Chance and Kayden Carter versus Alba Dawn and Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn for the Tag Team Championship. What a way to end two nights for both teams who gave it their all. Now, there are people that have been sleeping with Kayden and Katana for years when they were in NXT. Very sad about that because they are a very talented tag team and they're also very talented individuals. As shown when Katana, formerly known as Jacy, got brought up to be in the Royal Rumble a couple of times. Now then, this match was amazing. Everybody looked fantastic. Both sides having a Raw and SmackDown team fight for the NXT Women's Championships, which has never happened before, was a great way to end as far as the wrestling aspect of NXT tonight. So many great spots. I mean, there's nothing else you can say other than the fact that this match was absolutely amazing. And we are going to miss Kayden and Kate and Katana walk through the crowd to come in with their little smoke
entrance, right?
Air. That is always fun. We're gonna miss that. But we're so happy for them.
I see Jeffrey in the chat. He was saying proud of these teams making their debuts on Raw and SmackDown. And I think also too, so I mentioned earlier, right? And I don't know this for sure, obviously. But So I always expected Kayden Carter and Katina Chance to be called up because they're an actual tag team. One of the things I asked you guys a few weeks ago, I like asking questions about wrestling and picking brains and hearing your guys' opinions. But the women's tag team title, I was like, hey, I saw a question on Twitter, like, have you lost faith in them? And personally for me, and talking about the main brand, I have, because we don't have actual tag teams. We have a lot of makeshifts. An actual champs are makeshift, and that's no.
The only time we had hope was in NXT. And now a couple of beacons of hope are going into the main roster, which should hopefully give some hope.
Right.
My only thing is I do not want them to unify the belts, because if they do, there's literally nothing.
I don't think they unify the belts. I think they're going to be. They were teasing, and I feel like Vic was saying this. Vic was saying,
if Katana and Kayden win, they would come and defend it back and forth between shows.
But I think he meant that for both teams,
right? Especially with all that traveling.
Yeah, but I thought he meant that for both teams, actually.
Well, let's hope that happens.
So what's going to happen to the NXT tag team?
They'll come down and defend until a team actually defeats Alba and Isla for it.
Right.
That's what's going to happen. And that way the NXT belts stay in NXT.
And I will add here real quick that we got in the chat. We have a super AEW fan here. I will click it for you guys so you guys can see it here. He sits here and he says, WWE draft garbage. None of these NXT drafts are going to help both shows from being pure basura. So you said it better. Good job.
Well,
I really feel bad.
That's Spanish.
I knew that. What'd you think? I thought that was French.
No, I'm saying that for the people who probably didn't know.
Oh, there we go. I really feel bad for Katana. She really ain't gonna have a chance on the main. All of them gonna be underutilized past talents. I sit here and say this. I don't know how they're gonna be utilized. I know. And she went to sleep. Charmaine. She mentioned who's going to be a good pick or something.
Who's going to be the next NXT Women's Champion?
Oh, that's what she said. I'm sorry.
Might be Cora or Tiffany. Those are the two highest ones right now.
I wouldn't even do it on Tiffany right away. I would do it on Cora. Like, I know we ain't into the indie,
too, but we all know it's going to be Cora.
So that's why Liv and Raquel are drafted to Raw.
And
no, I don't think that has
drafted to Raw, so they could be built up to be contenders against those two for the Women's Tag Team Championship. I don't. So I just want to be sure because I want to be sure when you say that, Jeffrey. Do you mean like Raquel and Liv and Raquel? They're going to be like Raw Women's Champ? The Women's Tag Team division is not strong enough to be having separate brand thingies. So they don't have that right now. Unlike
they don't. So I wouldn't even do that. I think with them, I was gonna say even with them as champs, I see them going between both brands. That's what I see. Because even with Sammy and Kevin, they're drafted to Raw, and I remember thinking, "Wow, that's smart to draft them on Raw and being separated from the Bloodline because their storyline has climax." But I see that they're going to be on both brands. Matter of fact, a lot of people in the share was drafted, and I know a lot of people are not a fan of them, but I see them as a contender for the championship. Obviously, they don't beat the Kevin and Sammy, but I definitely see Sammy, and this was something I was thinking, in the summertime, the Judgment Day could take the tag titles off Kevin and Sammy. Just a thought. But what we got? Cora should be the next NXT Women's Champion and reunite her feud with Roxanne Perez. Women's division is trash. All these girls are boring, especially Natalia. Listen, I think the draft was great because what it did was add a little bit more. It helped beef up these rosters, and the only thing is to hope that these guys, who's ever in charge of creatives, are able to sit here and go and find a place for all these people.
Let's just hope creative doesn't do something stupid to these new picks that everybody in creative needs an attitude adjustment.
So John Cena just put him on the shoulder and flipped him over?
Yes. For some of them, they deserve it, especially with some of the stuff that we've read that they wanted some of these people to do or say.
Right. And I saw something recently. It's dirt sheets, and I don't believe in dirt sheets and stuff, but there's a lot of people saying this draft was hectic, but a lot of people are happy with the moves. So we just got to wait and see what these moves do. I will continue to watch Raw. I'll continue to tweet about it if you guys have a Twitter. And same thing with NXT. NXT now, with a lot of people being called up, a lot of people are going to be. It's opportunities here. We talked about the Women's Championship. Let's talk about it real quick. Indy forfeit the championship. She said, I didn't expect to win this championship. I didn't expect to be called up. She said when she came in, she was 23. And she mentioned about, I forgot how many days she said it was that she debuted.
1,038 days ago, she came into the Performance Center for the very first time as a freshly turned 23-year-old and definitely figured out herself when she joined The Way with Johnny, Candice, Austin, and her Sexy Dexy and the start of Index. Oh. And even talked about her WWE wedding that had no interruptions, which again, I was there for the first episode of NXT 2.0.
Can I be fair though? Like when I saw that, I immediately laughed because she was absolutely right. No one interfered in that wedding because the man had an axe. I would not be testing no Dexter Lumis. The guy literally opened his suit and it was an axe.
Whoa,
it's crazy. But go ahead. I'm sorry. You're doing a great job.
The only thing that happened that was surprising was the fact that we heard him talk.
That's true. He did speak.
I don't think he's ever spoke since. I was like, oh my God, we're actually hearing what he sounds like.
And we did talk about that, Jeffrey. You said it's crazy that Apollo gave. You know what?
I was just about to say we had a segment in the NXT parking lot and nobody got hurt.
You know,
look at that, Jack. And you say the NXT parking lot is always dangerous. It wasn't this time.
No, that shit is dangerous. I would never. But you know what? One more time for the Apollo because I feel like this is the last time we can do this. But can I do this? It's my Apollo segment. Can I do this? One more time. Let's get that hashtag. You guys know it. Let's do it. One more time.
Say it.
Oh, shit, Apollo Crews.
Katrina's.
Oh, shit, it's Apollo!
Oh, shit, it's Apollo! I'm going to miss saying that on this show. I would pour this on the ground, but, like, I don't have a mop, so I'm not going to do that. But, one to the real one. But, he praised Trick, and that's why I said earlier where I think that this is starting to be a
push for Trick Williams.
Yeah, it's starting to push him. Yes.
And who better friend to feud against first than the person he had been with since the very beginning?
And since the very, very beginning, right? We got Index. What we got? Johnny Gargano, Kansas, and Dexter. Yeah, they're all on Raw. So
I've been saying for ages, when were they going to put up Indy Hartwell with Candice so they could reform their tag team on whatever brand they were going to be part of?
And I think that's something that would help Candice because, like, she's so talented, but I know the crowd is indifferent with her.
She doesn't need. They don't need each other like that. Plus, now that she's with the OC over there,
right?
She can go off the real.
And also, too, I just want to say real quick. I know this was an NXT review, and I know we were all over the place, and we hope that you guys enjoyed this review. I'm so happy to see AJ Styles back. Miss my boy. Like, AJ's my guy. Like, not for nothing. I know people talk about the Bullet Club. Honestly, for me, the Bullet Club stopped after AJ. Sorry. Stopped after AJ. Sorry.
Well, thank God Shay's not here. She'd whoop your ass for that one.
Oh, I have no follow-up, but that's the truth. That's a laugh because she knows I always laugh at that. But that's the NXT review show. We're going to end the show. We hope that you guys enjoyed this. We're going to do some plugs real quick. We went longer than we thought, and we hope that you guys have had a good time. Matter of fact, that's such a clutch word. Let's plug some shows. You know, you guys could tune in on Mondays at 6 p.m. We have an updated graphic because this was the graphic from yesterday. Mike Knox, he has a show. It's the Mike Knox Show, Perfect Plex, and it's for the intelligent wrestling fans. So you guys should be tuning in, listening to him as he just talks about everything that happened in the week of wrestling. And also, you know, you guys could tune in on Tuesdays for the NXT show, but Wednesdays, catch our boy Zeta Silence. He reviews AEW, and usually it's the executive consultant and maybe another guest. So if you guys like Dynamite, if you guys like blood, then tune in because there will be a lot of blood. And this week, I don't know what day. I was assuming Thursday, but it's Thursday? It will be Thursday. We will have a Backlash prediction show. You know, I'm not going to be on that show, but here's my
I will.
The Wrestling Doll will be there. You guys need to tune in for the Backlash prediction show. Let me give you my predictions. Now, Bad Bunny is going against Damian Priest. Honestly, Damian Priest should beat Bad Bunny. And you might say, bad guy, why? Goldberg didn't do nothing. Yes, he did. But
why are you talking about Goldberg?
Because I can. My mouth has not stopped running yet. But Bad Bunny should lose. And you say why? Not that I've ever been to a Bad Bunny concert, but them ticket prices are ridiculous. Damian Priest needs to teach him about bad judgment, lay him out, and show him.
Damian Priest is part of the Judgment Day, so.
And I'm not you know what? I'm rooting for Damian Priest. That's my prediction. Damian Priest will choke slam him so hard that there'll be they'll make
another lake in Puerto Rico.
Yes. Thank you for cleaning that up. And also this week, the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 comes out. Listen, there's going to be spoilers, so if you don't see it by Sunday, I'm pretty sure Sunday we're going to do a review on that. Do not watch it, but if there will be a Guardians of the Galaxy review show. I still say check it out, but like I said, if you don't like spoilers, please don't tune in because I respect that. And also another plug, Wrestling Doll, please plug your thing because you have we have the link in there. What do you got going for you?
Well, I got myself a YouTube channel called The Unofficial Camera Woman where I mainly go to local wrestling shows in Central Florida and I record it and I put that shit up online as quickly as possible so that all these fabulous people that I film can share clips on social media.
You guys need to click that link. There's a link into that. And there's also a link for the Big Pop Theory podcast. This is an audio podcast with me and the captain. We talk about the week of going on with wrestling. We took a break last week, but we'll be back this week. And we're probably just going to talk a little bit about the draft. We're going to talk about what's happening this weekend. Backlash. I don't know why I almost said bad blood. You know why? Because I have bad blood with Goldberg.
Plays Taylor Swift Bad Blood.
One day I'm gonna upload 2K24 with me against Goldberg. I just need the
Why not do it now with 2K23?
I'm gonna
Why not do it now with 2K23?
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna upload it here with me beating up Goldberg with Morgan Freeman as my manager. That's the goal. But anyway, you guys have been great. Just continue to follow Unpopular View. There's a lot of things going on. There's links to also the entertainment page. They just reviewed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That was a tongue tie for me. Forgive me. They reviewed the first one in the 90s. We're going to be reviewing Gotham Knights later this week. So much content going on here on Unpopular View. Continue to follow Unpopular View. Continue to like, love, and share. Tell us about everybody. And you guys are great. You guys are phenomenal. We see you guys. We're saying bye. And Jeffrey mentioned he followed. And Jeffrey also mentioned damn we're great. So, and don't let the AI win. I'll probably upload it on my Instagram, me beating up Goldberg and me just talking crap. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have my mother as my manager. That's what I'm gonna do. Matter of fact, I'll have her as Goldberg because I don't want to buy me. She disappoints me. But anyway, you guys are great. You guys are awesome. Thank you for tuning in. And come back in next week. Wrestling Doll, wave bye to the lovely people. I was hoping I had enough time to. Oh, here's the outro. Bye, folks. Hey, you guys rock. Thank you for watching the NXT review show. You guys are awesome. And we'll catch you guys next week, Tuesday, same time. Oh, okay. Bye.